Thanks for joining us this week. We're excited to bring you another industry professional from the entertainment industry. So let's go ahead and get started. Lindsay, thank you for being with us today.
Thank you so much for having me. It's nice to be here.
Yes. Could you take just a few minutes to introduce yourself? Tell us who you are, what you do, and where you're from.
Yes. So my name is Lindsay Doyle. I live in Nashville, Tennessee, and I am a celebrity hair and makeup artist. I'm originally from South Florida, and I lived and worked in Los Angeles. That's kind of where I started my career. And then I've been in Nashville now for 11 years.
That sounds so exciting. Could you tell us maybe a few of the celebrities that you've worked with?
Yes. And I have some pictures I'm in my office right now. So there's some stuff on my wall back behind me, but some of my clients include Maren Morris, Miranda Lambert, supermodel Aldridge, Rita Wilson, Patricia Heaton. That's just to name a few, but
That is quite the resume. It's awesome.
yeah, it's fun.
So, could you tell us a little bit about how do you get clients? Are you freelance? Do you work for yourself? How do you get business? What do you do?
Yeah, so that's a great question. And sometimes it's hard to answer that type of question, but I do work for myself. I am a freelance artist. When I moved to Nashville 11 years ago, so I had started working in the industry in LA. And then when I moved to Nashville, I just started networking. And the best way to meet people is just to kind of, once I got a job working on set, I just started, it's just connecting and networking through in that way. And that's really how it just kind of, it just kind of rolled from there. Once you started working with one person, it was kind of like this buzz around town. But that was also before, social media was such a big thing. So, my career really started before all of that, which is a good thing and a bad thing, I think.
I think marketing is so different now that we do
Very
have.
different.
Yes.
Yeah.
What are some of the ways that maybe you utilize social media to get your name out there and build your brand and awareness?
Yeah, I think for me, and it's something that, I had a career before social media. So it's kind of one of those things that I have this love-hate relationship with right now that I'm trying to be better about, because for me, it's not necessarily how I build my clientele list. A lot of my clientele are at the top of their game. So they are asking their agents or management or those things for referrals. And a lot of times it comes from other artists that I work with or other actresses, that type of thing. So for me, it wasn't utilized, social media wasn't utilized in that way. But I do think from a branding standpoint, and just connecting with people and, fans of my clients and that kind of thing, it definitely is a plus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It sounds like you worked in the industry and you have lots of experience. Could you tell us a little bit about maybe how your career has changed over the years? How is it different now than when you first began?
Oh, yeah. You know what? I think one of the best things that I can say is just take every experience, whether it's good or bad, and utilize that as an experience to learn from and to grow from. One of the things I like to tell people all the time, and I remind myself of this, there's always room to grow. There's always room to be better. There's always just different ways to educate and, just to keep growing. When you're at the top and you feel like you can't grow anymore, I feel like that's when you retire. I don't know. I might be wrong, but that's how it seems to me in my head. So I think every experience, you just learn things. That's the best way to learn, is to be on set. For me, it's, watching other hair and makeup artists kind of just seeing what they do and seeing if I can, take some of those tips and tricks and add them to my knowledge. And there's always just room to continue to grow.
Yeah. So you told us a little bit about your professional journey, but could you explain, what does your daily activities look like? If you have a client for the day, what is that process going to look like from start to finish?
Yeah, so it's definitely a little different now with COVID and being in a pandemic. But so every job is completely different, and that's what's really fun about my job. Some days we are traveling to, Los Angeles or New York, and we're getting ready to do a live appearance, or my client's getting ready to do a live appearance on, a major network show, either Ellen or, I've done SNL, the list goes on. So those days look like we travel the day before, we get in, and they're very long days. So we'll start usually pretty early in the morning, do hair and makeup. And then a lot of times for me, it's just being on call for my clients. So if we're not necessarily changing out a hair and makeup look, it's doing touch-ups throughout the day. And then, a lot of what I do too is just making sure, my client has water and making sure that they're good, and just kind of checking the monitor and making sure everything looks consistent on camera. And that's really, being present and watching, but also just like knowing your place and kind of like not being in the way, I think is like the biggest thing for me.
Yeah. So you mentioned how you've worked on different jobs where it's maybe on camera appearances. What are some other types of jobs that you do hair and makeup for?
So for me personally, I mainly work with celebrities. So it's a lot of red carpet events, public appearances, whether it's on camera roles for an interview that they're doing, whether we're doing a photo shoot, video shoot, if it's a musician, magazine covers. Yeah, the list kind of goes on. But I think in hair and makeup, there's such a wide range, and the industry is so there's just so many options, and it's just a great industry to be in. Whether, I know girls that just, or guys that just mainly do weddings, and they make great money, and it's amazing. So or if you work in a salon, there's lots of different options within the hair and makeup world. For me, I just kind of like zoned in on the celebrity side of it, and the freelance world. And it's really great and beneficial for me, with the time, that I have to be able to be flexible. When I'm working, it's long hours, but when I'm not working, I have the ability to be home with my kids. And so it's nice.
Yeah. So it sounds like obviously you've had a ton of career success. So could you tell us a little bit about what your journey from high school to where you are now looks like?
Yeah. So when I was in high school, I had no idea that, my job existed. At that time, social media wasn't a thing. YouTube really wasn't a thing. So I'm really aging myself there, but it just wasn't, I didn't know that this was a career. I was always a creative kid. Creative arts were my thing. I was a dancer. That's where I thought I was going to land in my career. So I danced. I did the morning announcements for school. I always used to like sew and pattern make. And I actually got my college degree from the Fashion Institute of Design and Merchandising in Los Angeles. And I thought I was going to go the fashion route, which is very much kind of like intertwined with what I do. But I just really had no idea that hair and makeup was a thing. And I learned from a really young age how to do it growing up in the dance world. And then when I was in college in Los Angeles, I started working for MAC Cosmetics, and they asked me to be a freelance artist for them. So instead of working in store, they had me travel with them and do like Mercedes-Benz Fashion Week. And I started working in that world. And then I did a few commercials with them. So I really got to see just different aspects of the job and what it looked like. And then it just kind of stuck, and I never left the hair and makeup world. So that's, yeah.
Yeah. So when you mentioned you were working for MAC and you got to do these experiences, is it something that you knew at that point you wanted to do, or you just kind of saw it as an opportunity to learn a new skill and jump right in and you decided you loved it?
I didn't know that that was where I was going to land. I still, at that time, because I was in college and I thought I was going to be more in the design world as far as fashion goes. At least that's what I've always been a creative kid, though. Like I mentioned earlier, growing up in the dance world, I learned how to put on makeup and false eyelashes. I was putting them on when I was 8. Like, I just knew how to do stage makeup. Like, I was that girl that was like, Mom, I don't want you doing my makeup. I'm going to do it myself. I was the, girl from all of my friend group that was getting everyone ready for prom and like doing everyone's hair and makeup. So it's something that I've always done. That creative side of me was always there. And I'm just so thankful that I had the drive to actually just do it and not let anything, get in the way of that. And I just ran with it.
Yeah, absolutely. And it sounds like it's turned into this amazing career and life for you, getting to, and I can see that you're very passionate about what you do too.
Yeah, I feel very fortunate. And, I am definitely, I think we all are a little critical, but I constantly remind myself, like, I'm so lucky, I really am. I've worked really hard and I don't take that lightly at all, but I know that I also am very, very blessed to be in the situation that I'm in.
Absolutely. So just like everyone else, I'm sure you have experienced obstacles along the way. And could you talk a little bit about maybe how you've overcome obstacles and any advice you have for students that might face obstacles in the future?
Yeah, I think one of the things, and I was just talking to a friend of mine about this, I think one of the obstacles that I have found personally with this new age of, not new age, but this age of social media, and it gets to me sometimes too. I think that you just have to constantly remember there's room for everybody in any industry that you're in. There's going to be hundreds of thousands of people that do the same job as you do, but you're there for a reason. And those obstacles that you might face, you just take a step back and think about it and remind yourself that this is teaching you something. It's easier said than done when you're in the moment, but remember, or at least I try to remember, that it's teaching you something, and take that as a learning lesson and move forward. Because if you let every single outside influence affect you, you're never going to achieve what you want in life.
Yeah, I mean, that is such good advice. And I love how you mentioned there's room for everyone. And
There really is. I mean, when you think about like the numbers of like doctors, nurses, lawyers, I mean, I can't personally work with every single country artist and everyone in Nashville. So and I can't be everywhere at every single time, my biggest thing is I'm always like, I hate saying no to someone. Like, if someone calls me for work and I'm like, man, I can't do it, I always feel bad, but I can't be everywhere. And, so it's okay. There's going to be other people that do that job that time, and it's perfectly fine. Like, there's, we're friends. Like, it's all good.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you mentioned earlier that when you were in high school, you had no idea that your current career even existed. So
Yeah.
I'm sure along the way, you've probably discovered other career paths that you didn't know existed either. So
Yeah.
seeing behind the scenes, all of the different careers that you get to see, could you share some of those with our students? And, a lot of them probably don't know that there's career opportunities available in something that they might be passionate about.
Yeah, I think in the film and television world, there are just so many jobs that you don't even think of, whether you're, a PA on set and you're just there to run errands for the director and make sure everything goes smoothly. If you like to cook, there's options to be the caterer on set, and then you provide snacks and food, and you provide the lunch and the meals throughout the day. Like there's so many options, and there's so many things. I didn't know how in depth the line, I always knew that there was a director, but then you have like your assistant director, and then your second AD is what they call them, like there's like a line of just all these amazing people when you're on set doing a big production, that there's just lots of opportunities. So I think if you are creative, continue to explore that. And, I think the options are endless.
Absolutely. And I love that you mentioned explore that. So many times we probably see careers that are out there, but just taking a minute to stop and realize that whatever that opportunity is, someone is there doing that career. Their hair and makeup doesn't just get done by itself. Someone is behind the scenes doing that. So
Yeah.
definitely just open your eyes and look around, and you'll be able to discover so many different careers. So,
And I think if it's something that you're passionate about, I'm a big believer in manifesting. I'm like, just manifest it and speak it into existence, and work hard and go for it.
yes. So, what actionable advice do you have for students right now while they're still in high school? We might have some students listening that are interested in this industry.
Yeah.
What could be a few things that they could do right now, today, while they're still in high school to get them started on this career path?
One of the things that I do still to this day is a list of goals, things that you want to achieve. I think that's huge because, like I said earlier about manifesting, I think putting it out into existence, and just if that's something that you want to work towards, then write it down and then make a list of how you can achieve those things. So for example, if you are wanting to get into makeup, I have people message me on social media all the time asking, those questions like, hey, I am interested in this. Would you mind emailing with me, or would you mind grabbing coffee or something, and just sharing about your experiences? I always respond best to people that ask, just for those questions about sharing versus like, tell me everything you did. You know what I mean? Like I think there's ways of going about it, but I think if you know someone, ask a question, do some research, and I think you'll find some answers. I think it's always more intimidating, but
Absolutely. Don't be afraid to ask. Make that first step.
Absolutely.
Well, cool. So we have a few questions from students that were submitted. So the first question that we have is, what are your favorite makeup brands?
Ooh, I think my top brand that I use in my kit for makeup is Armani Beauty. There's a lot, but that would be the top one as far as foundations go. MAC Cosmetics is always amazing. Pat McGrath, and I'm trying to think what else is like packed in my kit. Charlotte Tilbury is also a great one. Yeah.
So the next question is, I love to watch makeup tutorials on YouTube. Do you have any favorite artists that you follow, or suggestions of where I could find more tutorials to watch?
Ooh, tutorials. I'm so bad with that. I feel like for me, I kind of, again, I was like before so the people that I personally look up to, and, had his books was Kevin Aquan was like a big influence. He was like very relevant in the 90s. I was still young at that point, but I think he was like, to me, very iconic. And now Pat McGrath, same kind of thing. She's amazing, and someone just, if you want to watch a truly extraordinary career from makeup artist to now owning one of the top makeup brands, she is someone to check out. More current, Makeup by Mario that works with Kim Kardashian. He has also had an amazing career, and same kind of thing, just, starting out, he worked at Sephora, kind of like how I worked at MAC Cosmetics, and now has his own brand. And so, there are so many on YouTube. I think it's, you can take your pick, but those are some of the top iconic people that I personally look at, and I've always been a fan of their work.
Yeah. So the next question that we have, and I know you kind of touched on this earlier, you had mentioned that you had gone to college for fashion. So the next question is this a career that I would need to get professional training? If so, what would be your advice or suggestions?
Okay, so there's a two-part answer to that. So if you wanted to do something on the hair side where you were doing color and cut, yes, you would need to go to cosmetology school and get a license to color and cut. Color theory is definitely tricky. I don't even want to attempt that I understand it. I've seen a lot of my friends color, and I think that I know what they're doing, but I have really no idea. So that is that. So if you want to, as far as the hair side goes, you do need a cosmetology license. I just style hair. And as far as makeup goes, you do not need a license to be a makeup artist. So I think there's amazing makeup schools. Now, sorry, I just thought about this too. If you are going into makeup for film and television that is more in the prosthetics world, then that is another layer. That is, I know how to do very, very minimal prosthetic pieces. It's another layer that is amazing. And that is something that you should definitely study if you are interested in that.
Yeah. So it sounds like probably experience is the way to go, like just getting your foot in the door and getting as much experience as possible.
Yes. Shadowing someone is definitely beneficial. You can learn tips and tricks along the way. I think, I think working in a cosmetic at a counter or a store like MAC or Sephora is always great. You're getting models in the door every day, and you're getting different ages, races, skin types. You're getting everybody that walks through the door. So you really know, you're going to learn color and very fast.
Yeah.
Faster than you would by reading it.
That is a great, I mean, that's just wonderful advice. And that's something that high school students can do, getting that part-time job while they're still in high school and getting that experience. So.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes. So the last question that I have for you is, do you have a favorite look or moment in your career that you have worked on?
Ooh. I don't know. There's so many to choose from. I've been really, really lucky. I think one of the biggest moments, though, that comes to mind is I did SNL, Saturday Night Live with Maren Morris. It was her first time doing SNL, and our entire team that was with us, myself included, it was my first time doing SNL. I had done all the other shows. But to watch her do it for the very first time, and it was all of our first time experience was really, really amazing. And just to see that set and how they do everything there is so cool. And watching all the comedians and actors and actresses that are on that show, it was pretty awesome.
Yeah, I can imagine that would definitely be a pinch me moment of just not understanding, is this even real life?
Yeah. And it's fast too, because it's live. So we did like minor hair and makeup changes for her performance. And she changed her outfit, but I mean, it's quick. So it was really fun though. It was awesome. We all left and we're like, we have to go celebrate. Like we were just on this high when we left. So it was great.
Well, Lindsay, thank you so much for being with us today. Is there any last minute advice that you would like to leave with students? Maybe something you wish you knew at a younger age, or something that they can really grab a hold onto and take with them?
Just remember that if there is a tough time, it always gets better. Mm-hmm. And just try to remember that it's going to teach you something, because everything is going to be wonderful in the end when you just focus on that and you keep your mind open to exploring new opportunities and just, going in the right direction. I think you'll be great.
Yes, that's perfect advice to end on. So thank you for being with us. Thank you to everyone that tuned in. We're excited to bring you this industry professional. And then don't forget to check back next week as we have a new industry professional then as well too. So you guys have a wonderful day.